every road leads to stories waiting to be told. I am, of course, your humble host, Gabriel Von Graves. And beside me, as always, my trusted co host and producer, Raven Knight. Tonight, we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us live. Whether you're watching from Wisconsin, Tennessee, across the country, or somewhere far beyond, we appreciate you spending part of your evening with you. Thank you. DarkWoods Paranormal was built on one belief that history matters, that places remember, and that sometimes the unexplained deserves more than laughter, it deserves respect. We are not here to fake evidence, we are not here to chase attention. We are here to listen, to learn, and to seek truth wherever it may lead us. Tonight's program is proudly presented by Unbox Media LLC, helping bringing stories, voices, and original content to a life like ours. And of course, a special thanks to our friends and sponsors at Shaker's Cigar Bar in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, one of America's most legendary haunted locations. Now, tonight, I'm very excited. We welcome a team that has earned respect throughout the paranormal field. Joining us from Tennessee, the Black Wolf Paranormal Team, led by Todd and LeAnne Escue. They are known for investigating in integrity, experience, and professionalism. Their work has taken them to some of the most respected locations in the country: the Bell Witch Cave and Farm, Waverly Hills Sanitarium, Monroe House in Indiana, and the Old Park Hotel in Texas. They are investigators who understand something many forgot. The paranormal is not entertainment first, it's history, emotion, mystery, and human experience. LeAnne is also the author of Still Walking with the Unseen, a deeply personal reflection on her journey through the unknown. Tonight, we discuss their experiences, their methods, the Bell Witch legend, and what they have seen and what they question, and what still keeps them searching. So dim the lights, settle in, and join us now as we welcome Todd and LeAnne, the Black Wolf Paranormal team, right here on DarkWoods Paranormal. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you guys?
Take it away.
Well, we're out of Nashville, Tennessee. We're located in Gallatin, just north of Nashville. We've been into the paranormal collectively for about 30 years.
Oh, wow.
We both
Good for
we
you guys.
both had experiences growing up.
Hmm.
Um, from a very young age, I've always been into the paranormal, the cryptids, the ufology, the whole nine yards. And Leanne, kind of the same way. She was had a go ahead and tell you.
Well, for me, my mom lived in a home that had some paranormal activity when she was younger. Um, it kind of piqued an interest later on in life. When we talked about it and discussed it, and she's not one to really talk about the paranormal. And for her to bring these things up, it kind of piqued my interest. I wanted to see what she had experienced. So we were invited to be overnight guest, volunteers at a local haunted hospital called Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Um, that was interesting. And we kind of moved on and we became overnight um, team for Waverly Hills.
leading the public investigations and private overnights couple, and teamed up with Pac-Man Paranormal there, Ernie and
Mhm.
Denise Pack. And from there, we were there for a little over a year. And then from there, we went to kind of our stomping grounds around here was the Bell Witch Cave.
Mhm.
Uh, we grew up here in this area, both of us, and we always would go up there in the fall and experience the Bell Witch Cave and the surroundings up there. And then we had an opportunity, and we became best friends with the owner, and they came and saw one of our events at a local metaphysical store. And from there, it was kind of, that's all she wrote. So we've been there. This is our fourth season there.
Wow.
So it's been pretty interesting ride.
It sounds like a very interesting ride. What do you think on the two locations you mentioned, the hospital and Waverly Hills? What do you think keeps the spirits there if you've discovered any?
That's a great question. I mean, it could be a number of things. Trauma is one. But let me bounce that question back to you. When it comes to hospitals and sanatoriums and places like that, what do you think is the most haunted portion of those buildings?
Let me consult my lawyer. So I feel that when there's a lot of death, I think death opens a portal, if you will, and as the soul moves through, it kind of travels through that. And I think in locations that I've been in, and I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, places that have had trauma or death always leaves a little bit of scent to it. And I think the more scent there is, the more opportunity people take advantage of that. Yeah, paranormal people coming in and, bringing in their own garbage or attachments. And I think that's kind of what starts it. It energizes whatever's there. And then, I like to throw a little bit of demons in there, right? Because, demons come to you kind of sideways. So here they are, all these people trying to have fun with this. And it's a very good way, a platform at least, to hitch a ride, if you will, at least in my opinion. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a fair
It
statement.
is very
And,
much.
a lot of people will jump straight to, well, it's the ER or the OR
Right.
or one of the areas of the hospital that does have trauma or death. One of the things that we've learned through the years and through the different facilities that we have investigated and kind of did a few experiments here and there, and it seems to turn out that the most active location in a hospital is the main lobby.
Why do you think that is?
Interesting.
Is it the emotion? I mean, I'm going to kind of follow
It's
that
all
up with
the
your answer.
Yeah, it's all the emotional energy that
Sure.
comes through. That's the one
Right.
location to where you come in and you find out you've got a new child
Right.
or somebody has recovered from an illness and given a clean bill of health, or you come in and somebody has lost a child, lost a loved one. You find out that somebody had a terminal illness. It's just all of that energy and all of that emotion passes through that one particular area all the time.
That is
Do
interesting.
you think something
I
latches
like that.
onto that energy?
I think something could or can latch onto that energy, and as it moves throughout the facility.
Yeah.
But Waverly Hills was one of those locations that with it being a TB hospital and all of the emotion and energy that went into that place, as far as people coming down with TB and people recovering from it. That lobby was very, very busy.
Yeah. And I think when we became guides there, we didn't understand that energy because everybody kept saying it's very heavy in this area. So we questioned that. Why is it so heavy in the entrance of Waverly Hills? What would cause that? So, we thought on that and kind of watched how activity reacted during investigations and how people felt in certain areas there. And, we kind of landed on that, it being one of those areas where, like he said, going in and leaving, because you're going in without, you have no idea how sick you are.
Or that high anxiety.
And that high anxiety of going in and wondering, because that was, tuberculosis was deadly. And so you didn't know. So you're going in with all those high emotions and, or you're leaving or family members are leaving, knowing they're leaving their family member there to die. So that's being dropped off there. So, that was our opinion of that area, why maybe that area was so, heavy.
Now,
I've
Gabriel
never
and
had
I,
anybody explain that before. I love that, by the
no,
way.
that's
The
really
the
good.
the entry,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Thank you for that. The lobby.
We've had conversations before though about like people, let's say, projecting certain things, like, just going into a place and saying, oh, this place is definitely haunted, just because you have that in your head before you even walk
Right.
in. So you're going into this hospital and you're saying, well, all this trauma and all this stuff happened here, and then what if, or is it possible, I guess, in your opinion, that people can just manifest these things or project
Oh, yeah.
these things to
Mhm.
happen?
I mean,
Yeah.
energy is a funny thing. Like they say, energy never dies, just changes states.
Right.
And I believe that what we deal with the majority of the time when we go into these locations is that energy.
Mhm.
Energy from the old man that was the curmudgeon in life who's going to be a curmudgeon in death. That we have to put up with. That's the prankster, the jokester,
Mhm.
the grandmother that loved everybody, or the old lady that just didn't want to be bothered. All of that energy is still there. And if that's what we pick up on, that's what we pick up on. And then, you kind of go down that demonic road as well. And that's kind of why I made the statement that I made earlier about somebody being a curmudgeon in life, they're going to be a curmudgeon in death.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really that simple. And just because something in energy presents itself as a darkness or something maybe we don't understand does not mean it's demonic.
Right.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I just think a lot of people run to that. They think, since it's a low vibrational being, it's automatically demonic, or because they were here on Earth, just they were just assholes, the best way to put it. So, you've got that.
I was trying to keep it PG there.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
I knew she was
Well, we know
doing the
it's
breaks.
true.
I'm just letting
We
you
all
know.
know
I
it's
just,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But throwing the demonic thing out is to me,
It's getting a little excessive.
in the time that we've been doing the paranormal, and several of the people that we do the paranormal with, and they've been doing it even longer than we have, and we may have had a demonic experience one time in 30 years that was and it would be just a very low level energy.
Mm-hmm.
We've had people that have come to our events and been affected, but them being affected was more of an anxiety thing,
Yeah.
Mm.
not expecting something that happens to them, or not expecting, or coming in too open, and something affected them that way, and it just turning into anxiety. We've had people get affected at some of these locations to where we've just had to get them outside, get them grounded. We actually had to carry one individual out of a location, and she was tripping out a little hard. But we've seen people get affected, but I dare say that any of it was a real demonic experience. It was just more of a low level sort of thing.
Sure.
Have you ever had any of these energies or spirits follow you guys home after investigation?
Oh,
or,
yeah.
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 Okay.
And it's
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
not it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's one of those things to when you've been on a location for so long that the energies or the spirits get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
They find a comfort level with you,
Sure.
or it's something new to them to where, wait a minute, these people can hear me or they can understand me,
Mhm.
and they'll come home with us. And after an event, we had an event at Trousdale Place, which was a historic home here in Gallatin.
Mm-hmm.
That's an active place, but it's not active like some people would think. But we had a very good night, and we come home. We're getting ready for bed, and voices started coming in the bedroom, and she sits up in the bed and said, "Not tonight.
Yeah.
We we sleep on this side. If you want to talk, we can talk in the morning."
Yeah.
And you just take control of it, and it's all good.
Yeah, and that's what we mainly tell people, if they feel, that there is something maybe in their house, let them know. Let these spirits know You are the one in charge, and take control of that situation. But let them know, like I told whoever that was that followed us home, I said, tonight we're sleeping. Mind you, it's 2 a.m. and I'm exhausted by that point. So,
Absolutely.
and I said, tomorrow, if you need to tell me anything, I'm open. I'm all ears tomorrow, but wait till I wake up and I will listen to you. So
She gets tangry.
I do.
I do too.
Angry.
I
Yeah.
love that. I've never heard that before, but I love it.
I'm stealing
Um,
that, Todd. I'm stealing that from you.
I love
You're
that.
welcome.
That's
Thank you.
wonderful. Yeah.
She gets
So-
I actually
she gets tangry when she's tired and hangry,
Yeah.
and then she gets hangry when she's
Mhm.
hungry and angry.
Yes.
So, and then there's a combination of the two that
And it's bad.
I love it.
so LeAnne and I, when we do an investigation together, we'll have to know there has to be food involved. We have to have food.
Absolutely.
Eat the
And
food.
Todd, you and I will just step away peacefully, my
Yeah,
friend.
you guys just step
Yeah.
away because we're gonna
Right.
get hangry and
Yeah.
hangry.
Yeah.
So would you say that positive energy would bring positive? Like you go to a location, and I've seen people that go to we're going to use Sally House, which you use all the time, but
Mhm.
it's relevant. And we were with an investigator that was a little on the negative side,
Mm.
and we found that in a location sometimes that does completely the opposite. Things close up. But we've been in locations that people use very positive reinforcement, and we seen better results. Why do you
Mhm.
think that is?
I think you're going to get out of it what you put into it.
All right.
I mean, it's just plain and simple like that. The energy that you put out there is the energy you're going to get back. Whether it's I mean, we tell
Such in
people, yeah,
Mhm.
such in life. We tell people if you've had a bad day at work, I would second guess coming to a paranormal
Yeah.
investigation.
Right.
Mhm.
Because that energy that you put out, if you've had a
Mhm.
bad day and you're going to put out that negative, BS energy, that's what you're going to get back.
Mhm.
And these energies, whether they're whatever vibrational level they're at, especially the low vibrational levels, will feed on that low energy and come at you, and you'll have an interesting night if from nothing happening at all or getting picked on.
Right.
So
Right. We
Would
Yeah.
you
had that
mind?
same thing. We had
Go
that
ahead, Ray.
same thing, like where we were at a place though, and I don't want to say it. I'm not going to say where it was, but we were at a place, and one of the people with us was very excitable,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
say.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And as soon as she left, like we were getting stuff before, right? With her there. So I really think whatever was there was feeding on her excitable energy because she gets scared a
Right.
little easier.
Right.
But then as soon as she left, we had nothing. There was nothing
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
Gabriel and I are very calm when we go into a place. We're not jumpy. We're not we're not Zach Bagans. We don't go in there and
Yeah.
just, oh, everything
Same.
crazy haunted. Yeah. So like, yeah, I mean, do you think that does that apply as well? Like that there are
Oh yeah.
certain
We've had we went to a location and we had a team member that used to be on our team. And this location was very
dark.
it was one of the darkest places we've ever gone. And a lot of suicide had taken place
Mm.
here. It was just a lot of negative stuff. And we had a team member at the time that was struggling with some mental health things that happened to do with, some of the suicidal, and different things like that.
Sure.
Which it probably wouldn't have been the wisest place for her to go, but she was
Mhm.
really wanting to go with us. And I didn't want to be, the negative Nelly and, say, yeah, so I told her, I said, let's be slow about this and, try to, go in slowly. And oh no, she went headstrong into it. And
She had a tendency to be drawn to
Yeah.
the darker energies anyway.
Sure.
yeah, and it
It got
sent
the
her
best.
for a loop.
Right.
And that's one of the things that
Yeah.
we found, across the board when we do public investigations, or even when we do private investigations, when other people ask us to go with them. If there's somebody in the group that has their own personal, we'll say personal demons, of alcoholism, drugs, whatever it may be.
The attachments, yeah.
Mhm.
Those things have a tendency to, or those folks have a tendency to be the ones that get picked on,
Yeah.
or the energies try to manipulate a little bit more than those that don't have those issues. We tell people to open themselves up to where they're comfortable, as to what they can handle.
Mhm.
And some people don't understand that. They think either I'm wide open or I'm completely closed.
Well, and some people are new to it, so they don't know. They're learning, just like all of us did. When I was new at this, I didn't know. And when these newer investigators are learning, they really don't know until the time comes and they experience that. And that's when we are there, or other teams like you guys that have seen, when newer people come in, and and you can kind of guide them the best way you know how, to help them. But I think that a lot of times that's what we are there for, is to kind of help them along and see if this is something they're interested in, because a lot of times they're watching TV and they're seeing all of that, and I have to explain to them that a lot of what we do is sit in a dark room,
Mhm.
and it can get boring. It's like you're fishing, and it can get boring. But then again, when activity amps, there you go. I mean, utter excitement, because you're getting stuff. So that's kind of what we love to do in our events, is because we have paranormal investigators that have been doing it for years, or we've got novice, that are brand new. So it's really neat to pair the newer investigators up with the paranormal investigators, just to see, and they'll watch each other, and they learn that way. So we love it. We love it.
What is the best piece of evidence that you guys have caught, and what location was that seen at?
Well, I've got two.
Okay.
The first one was at Haunted Old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
Okay.
I was leading a investigation on the third floor there. It was in Nellie's room, and Nellie was a geriatric patient. She actually passed away in the corner of the room. My understanding of Nellie, she was super sweet. She got along. She loved men, and
Authority.
she had a big problem with authority figures. So if anyone came in that was a police officer or anything like that, she just didn't want anything to do with them. But we do something called a 360 EVP. And what we do is we ask the same question in a circle, and we do that because we've noticed that spirits might like Todd's energy over my energy.
Sure.
So, and that was just experimental. We did that one night at South Pittsburgh Hospital and thought, let's just try this as an experiment. It worked. And
That's
we were like,
amazing.
It worked. Actually, it worked a little different than expected.
yeah.
Because like she said, typically you get a group of people, 4 or 5 people, everyone asks the exact same question. You give about 5 seconds between questions for the energies to answer, and you kind of go on around that way. This one was more familiar with her
Mm-hmm.
in the way that it answered, because there were 2 things on the recording.
So what happened, we were asking questions, and I didn't ask a question. I let all the other people ask questions, same question all the way around. But as they were asking, I heard something like, it was the weirdest, what would you say, breath?
There was like a deep breath or a
Yeah,
sigh.
a sigh. And then it was like maybe 2 seconds later, you hear, "LeAnne, hey,"
Oh, wow.
as plain as day. I will send
Wow.
you that EVP.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll send it through Messenger to you. But
Or when you guys come down.
or yes,
Yes. Yes.
We're gonna
um,
go hang out with you. I love it.
yes. So the other one was Waverly, and it was me and Todd. Well, no, Todd was on another floor at that time, but typically at nighttime, we would, well, it was early morning. We were there from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. at Waverly. And we did this for a solid year, Friday night and Saturday night. So
Wow.
we
Wow.
would, the overnight investigations would start at 12 o'clock midnight and last till 5:30 the next morning.
Mhm.
So at 5:30 or 5:15, we would go up on the floors and we would do a sweep of the floors, just letting everybody know that the night's over with. And
Mhm.
so everybody would meet down in the cafeteria. So me and my best friend, Denise, of Pac-Man Paranormal, we had walked up the stairs, the middle staircase. We had come out and we were walking the fourth floor. So, and we were kind of side by side. And we looked down the corridor and we see a girl standing against the doorway. And so I look over at Denise and I said, "Hey, we need to let her know, it's the end of the night." And Denise said, "Yeah." So we just keep walking and we get probably 6 feet from her. And I kid you not, I see her dress. I see her hair. She's got long hair. She's almost glowing internally, if that's
Mhm.
a good way of putting that. It was the weirdest way we were seeing her. And in my head, I was thinking, well, she's like glowing from the inside, And this girl is gone. She disappears. I see her fully. About that time, Denise's husband comes up behind us. We didn't realize he had come up the middle staircase too, a few seconds after us. And you hear him go, "Holy shit, did y'all just see that?" So, all three of us seen this girl. And
Wow.
I love the fact that we all three saw her. It was not just me. I love when others actually get to witness because you've got that validation. You're not losing your mind. You
Uh-huh.
know,
Right.
'cause, I'm thinking when I first approach her, I was thinking from a distance, I was thinking, well, maybe it's the sun, the sunrise coming up through the solarium and coming through, and making this weird, shadow or whatever. No, no. As we got 6 feet from her, I realized it looked like a human being standing there.
That's
So
amazing.
it was
Did
it
it
was
acknowledge
amazing.
you when you guys were there? Did it acknowledge you guys were there, or was it in its own kind of space?
I think she saw us because she she was looking at us
Mhm.
because when she came out of the room, it was almost like I saw her come out and she leaned against the doorway. And she came out of one of the rooms that was on that side of one of the terminal rooms, because so you've got that side of the terminal rooms, then you've got the middle rooms, which yeah, that are right there on the solarium, and those were not as sick. But she actually was standing right outside of one of the terminal rooms, and it was just it was the coolest thing, but the weirdest thing, that you can just, walk up on. And yeah, it was cool though.
Wow.
If you don't mind me asking, I've always find it fascinating when how people answer this. What makes you think, or what do you believe allows some spirits to be able to show the full self, and some just being able to come in through indications like voice or movement of
Mm.
objects?
I think that's kind of many layers to that answer. It could be energy level for one, whatever energy they have at that time. Uh, their comfort level,
Hmm.
if they're comfortable with exposing themselves or making themselves known. Uh, who's on the receiving end of the experience as well. Who's who's in tune to those sorts of energies. Because one of the things that I find fascinating about the paranormal is, LeAnne and I have been together for 37 years, and
Very cool.
we have a tendency to experience things very similar.
Mm-hmm.
LeAnne and Denise have been best friends for roughly 8 or 10 years, and Leanne will see things in a lighter, brighter white light kind of thing, and Denise will see things darker and gray.
Interesting.
A lot of times we will hear things, but Leanne may hear it one way, and I'll hear something a little bit different. And I just think that one we will sit there and argue about, because there was an EVP that was captured at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, and I'm trying to remember what the words were. It was a little boy, and one of the things, I think what I would hear was, "Who are they?" And what she would hear was, "Hello."
Oh, that's
And I'm
completely
like,
different.
that's the most 3-syllable hello you ever heard in your life. And we actually did an experiment there and played that for a group of men
Yeah.
and a group of women. 9 out of 10 men heard, "Who are they?" 8 out of 10 women heard, "Hello."
It's kind of like that dress, the blue.
I was just
gold
thinking
dress.
that.
Right.
I was just thinking that, LeAnne. It
That
is the
that
dress.
that dress that is white and gold.
Or what was the other option? Blue and black, right?
Blue
Was
and
it
black. And that's what I see is blue and black.
That's what I see too, was the blue and the
Yeah.
black.
But anyway, I mean, that's one of those things. But back to your question, it's just, I think it's all on the energy level,
Yeah.
the energy that they possess, and if they want to be known. It's kind of the same. People ask the same question, and I'm probably going to steal this one from you. Why do we think an energy or a spirit is in a location? Why haven't they moved on to heaven? For all we know, the location that they're at is their heaven.
Yeah.
That may have been their happiest place in life. Like the nurse from Waverly Hills, Sarah. She's been through paranormal investigation. She's been asked that question: "Why are you still here? Why haven't you moved on to heaven?" The answer that people got back, multiple teams got the same answer: "This is my heaven."
Well, and she was in charge of the pediatrics, the little kids, the terminal kids. So, that was her everything, because she was always wanting to be, their light, and that bright shining light with them being so sick. So I think that was her happy place, helping them. So, I mean, that makes sense. That was her heaven.
That's actually very comforting. It
Yeah,
really
it is.
Yeah. What happens if a location becomes their hell?
I guess you're going to get that same effect. That's where you're going to get that low level energy. That's where you're going to get that whatever their trauma was is what they're reliving on the daily. And someone who may be open to that sort of trauma is going to relive what that energy went through. And you have that opportunity or that occasion to where somebody could get affected by that energy. Those of us that vibrated a little bit higher level will be able to understand what's going on and understand that energy and understand why it is the way it is, where some won't. I don't think it's one of those things to where something needs to be cleansed or cleared. I just think a lot of times when you run into those sort of things, it's more of on the residual side, something that's playing on that loop. And then when it is on the intelligent side, is something needing to be comforted. So I mean, if
Which
it's
by itself is actually comforting as well.
and it's something that when you get into that negative energy, and one of the examples was Mr. Mitchell at Waverly Hills. I want to believe he was on the fourth floor. For the longest, his story was being told wrong.
Yeah.
That he left his wife and kids and divorced them and had affairs and all this negative stuff, and all of this negativity was being spewed about him, that he became a negative spirit up there to where he would not harm people, but he would push people, pull women's hair, be that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Whereas once we learned the real story, why he turned his wife and family away, was because he found out he was terminal. He didn't want his wife and family to come and see him in the condition that he was in. And once we got the story out, and
it was telling that story.
That story of what kind of guy he really was, that energy in that area changed tenfold.
Yeah.
He became a prankster. He would, instead of pulling women's hair, he would flip their hair.
Or he'd smack them on their booty.
Smack them on the butt. He was a flirt.
He was.
And, to the point that, when I first started doing the tours there, I would ask in the evenings when it was over, I said, "Okay, Mr. Mitchell, how did I do on my tour?" I was just joking the first time I asked him.
Sure.
And we had it was either a voice box or necrophonics or something.
Yeah.
And the first night I asked that, "Mr. Mitchell, how am I doing on my tour?" As clear as a bell. Sucks.
What a
Love it.
sass.
So he was honest. So the time goes by, a month or so goes by, and I thought, well, I better ask him again. I asked him how I was doing, and then just clear as a bell. Meh. And then, when it was time for us to leave Waverly Hills, went to say our goodbyes. All right, Mr. Mitchell, that today was my last tour. I'm moving on. I hope I did you proud. And the response was, "Okay, I guess."
Yeah. So he gave it to you at the end. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
So
That was about as good as you got out of him. Aw.
But and it's funny when you're at these locations and you don't realize it when you're there for an allotted period of time. We were at Old South for a little over a year. We were Waverly over a little over a year. And when you spend so much time there, the weekends doing privates and public investigations, when you're working on these buildings and putting your time and your energy into these buildings, the energies that are there get to know you.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Of course.
get familiar with you and think it's okay to pick on you. Because you were asking about experiences. I had a full body apparition experience at Old South where
Wow.
we were cleaning the floors, and I was in the building by myself. I know nobody was in there. I was the one that locked the doors, and I'm down by the ER, and this person or energy was down by the end of Shadow Hallway, and I could see clearly in the light coming through the window somebody standing there. It looked like dark colored scrubs, like a reddish colored collar, and dark bushy hair, standing there staring at me while I'm staring at it, and we're both trying to figure out what the hell each other is.
Right.
And by the time I got to my flashlight to light up the whole hallway to sit it down there, it was gone.
Yeah.
I was a little bothered,
Right.
but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But they get to know you, and I was on the third floor. There was a group at the second floor nurses station doing their investigation. They had whatever voice device they were using during their investigation, having a great investigation. And then they said, all of a sudden, across their voice box, "Here comes Todd."
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
at that, as soon as it said, "Here comes Todd," I come out of the center stairwell, come walking around the corner, and they just start laughing at it. And it kind of gives you a complex. when you
Sure.
walk into
Right.
the room and they just start laughing at you. And it's like,
Yeah.
what's going on? And they said, well, it just said, here you come. So that's happened there. That's happened at Waverly.
Yeah.
It's happened at a few places,
Mhm.
Awesome.
and
You have a very
Mm.
comforting energy, so I can definitely understand how you would bring that aspect of comfort
Yeah.
in these
Yeah.
spaces.
He's very grounding.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is
Would you
good.
mind
It was just
talking a little bit about the Bell Witch Cave?
I was gonna say the same thing. We're on the
Okay, go
same
ahead.
page. I love it.
Go ahead and ask.
Oh, you're telling me to ask the
Yeah,
question? Is
go
that
ahead and
what
ask.
Oh,
Do it.
oh, well, I was gonna say you guys have spent a lot of time in other places, but one of the most famous is the Bell Witch Cave out in
Yes.
Tennessee, which we would love to hear a little bit about your experiences there and how you kind of got
Absolutely.
involved in
Yeah.
that.
Well, this was a little strange how it happened. And you know how the universe, I'll go with the flow with the universe.
Sure.
Wherever I am meant to go, that's
Sure.
where we're going. So this day we ended up taking one of our good friends
the
to
other member of our team.
the other member of our team um to the Bell Witch Cave. And it was a random, hey, do you want to go, go there so you
Mhm.
can see the farm and the cave and everything. So she was like, yeah, let's go. We end up going. We end up talking to one of the
Hold on. We pay for a tour.
we pay for a tour. And we end up talking to one of the owner's daughter that
Mhm.
helps run the tours there.
No, and then we talked to Candy for 4 hours.
Yeah, we end up talking to her for 4 hours because she had a horrible day and she needed to vent, which was fine because she was like, oh my God, it has been the worst day. Can I just talk to you guys? So we end up in this 4 hour conversation and we
And never got the tour.
it never got the tour, which was
The tour that you
fun.
paid for. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And so we ended up telling her what we have done. We were tour guides, at Haunted South Pittsburgh Hospital. We did the overnight investigations with all the teams that come in, Waverly Hills, and we kind of give her, what
Resume.
our resume, I guess.
Right.
And and thought nothing of it. And she said, I've been thinking about, opening this, up to, paranormal investigations because it had never been open for
Mhm.
private or public investigations.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. I said, well, we've got a event at one of the local historic locations where we live. And I said, at Trial Sale Place, I said, you're more than welcome. We got tickets for sale right now. And if you want to see how we run things, you can come and check us out. She did and brought some of her family, and they absolutely loved it. And she said, yeah, I want you guys at the Bell Witch Cave. And
Amazing.
she said, let's sit down and talk. And we did and kind of, hashed out how we were going to do events. The first year they did not open for private investigations. And we talked to her about that because I said, now that we're doing public investigations, we had a lot of teams asking, do they do private investigations? And I said, well, not right now, but maybe in the future they will. So she sat down with her family and they discussed it and ended up opening the private investigations last year. So that was the first year that they opened that. Now there is 110 acres.
100 acres we have access to.
Yeah. And including a replica cabin and the cave. And there is a native burial ground that is part of it. We really don't investigate that part of it because it is, it's very sacred land.
Right.
We'll do a little bit of energy work right there, but
Mhm.
we really don't investigate. We'll do a tobacco offering out of respect for
Right.
being on the land,
Yeah.
period. Because that whole area up there is native. So.
Yeah, it's the Trail of Tears did go through that area. So you've got many layers. So you've got the cave, which is full of limestone. You've got the Red River that flows right next to the cave. So you've got the water, and then you've got the railroad tracks that are very close, and you've got all those other layers of different traumas and different things that have been on that land. And so it is extremely charged. And you can feel it when, if you know energy and you get up there and you walk that land, it is so charged. The first year that we started, we had a gentleman, he was out at the replica cabin, and a lot of people think, well, that's just a replica cabin. There's, there shouldn't be anything in there. Well, this cabin came from another location.
Oh.
And a family once lived in that house. So that has been brought in from another area, has been, made almost very similar to the original Bell cabin. And so this gentleman, he goes out there and he's walking around. It's our very first year of the investigation. Yeah, I think the first month.
Mhm.
And he's taken multiple shots with his camera. He doesn't even look at them till he gets in the car. They live in Alabama. So he's in the car and he's going through his pictures. He is blown away because as he's going through, there's 12 pictures, and number 9, 8, and 9, you start seeing something form in this doorway. And as he's going through the pictures, there is a full body apparition standing in the doorway. So he sends it to me, and he sends me the multiple shots so I can just start going. He goes, "LeAnne, thumb through these and see what you think." So I'm going through them, and I nearly passed out because I was like, oh my God, you've got a full body apparition. Do you realize how rare this is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Are you guys
Uh-oh.
frozen?
Uh-oh,
I thought
you're
you-
here.
No, you guys are
Okay.
good. You're good.
I was like, what
Sorry
just
about-
happened?
Yeah,
You're-
sorry about
In the
that.
middle of the story.
Yeah.
As we're going through and where he caught those photos, he was outside the cabin, and
It must be the storm that's
Are you
Going through.
having okay.
Are
That
your
was
lights blinking
interesting.
too?
Yeah, mine did. And then I
So
saw
did
I was watching your
this
eyes and I'm
picture
like,
was the
There we
doorway.
are.
Okay, the doorway where this picture was caught, there was a kettle from the Bell family right inside the doorway.
Wow.
Well, we posted these photos, and not an hour or two after everything was posted, LeAnne gets this message from a member of the Bell family. We know who that is, and of course, we're all kind of like, okay,
Who is it?
who is it?
Yeah.
mhm.
Well, they said, well, that's John Bell Jr. And I thought, okay, well, let's go. They sell a book in the gift shop. It's the Black Book.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the best books about the folklore of the Bell Witch. It's got the Bell Witch's predictions in it. It's a great read.
Yeah.
But 3 or 4 pages in, there is a color photo of John Bell Jr. You can take that photo and hold it next to our full body apparition, and you can see the hairline, the jowl, the
What
collar,
he's wearing.
the
Yeah.
cane that he carries, and everything. And it's
It
pretty
is-
damn close.
It's wild.
Wow.
That
That's
is amazing.
You
Yeah.
can go to our
Yeah.
page, the Black Wolf Paranormal on Facebook, and you can see that photo and that full body apparition photo.
Yeah.
And
Very cool.
again, the guy that took that photo, his name was Joe Crow out of Alabama.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that blew our mind. So, I knew there was, things there. Just not because of the folklore, but just you can walk that land and feel that energy. But the cave, they get all kinds of just weird apparitions, different shadows, different things in the cave.
Voices,
voices. Yeah.
long conversations.
Yeah. And Haunted Discoveries, they just filmed there. We filmed with them, and they have this camera called an MCCD camera. And this camera was pointed over the native burial ground. Now, mind you, the native burial ground is right above the first room of the cave.
Wow.
So when you're in the cave, I mean, right above you is that native burial ground. There is actually a box grave inside, a native box grave of a little girl. Her bones are no longer there. Someone stole her bones.
To the cave.
Well, that's never really good.
I'm
Not
sorry?
at all.
Stealing somebody's bones is never really good.
No,
No,
that's terrible.
no.
That box grave was not original to the grave or to the cave. It was put there in I believe it was the late 60s,
Okay.
mid to late 60s. The body was found downriver,
On the Red River.
and they wanted to put it in a museum,
Yeah.
and whatever the local native
Council
wouldn't let them, so they re-interned them into a box grave in the cave, and then someone broke into the cave and stole the bones.
Yeah.
You know, there's a kind of a lore: if you take a rock out of the cave, you'll have bad luck.
It is true.
What
There's
happens when you take a whole body, you know?
Yeah, if you take
Right.
bones of a Native American out of the cave, just imagine what could happen. What kind of
Oh my
bad juju
gosh.
were.
Right.
Mhm.
No
So,
kidding.
Mhm.
I wouldn't want to test any of that. You know what I mean?
No.
If you bring a rock to the cave, if you put a rock in the cave, do you get good luck? Is the question. Do I?
Returning to nature, absolutely. Returning to
Okay.
nature, yes.
Unless it's a rock you took from the cave.
Right,
Right. Then it just
No.
cancels it
Yeah.
out, I think, doesn't it?
right.
Well,
What are
go ahead.
I was gonna say? What are your thoughts about the original story of the Bell Witch? Like, do you have a theory as to what
Yes.
that was? Do you think that? Okay.
We do not believe it was not a witch. A lot of that was back in the day, you know, when the Salem witch trials and everything was considered a witch. You know, that was anything that they didn't understand, it was a witch. But after we have been there for 4 years, this will be our 4th year there. And growing up close by and going there all the time, we have landed on it being a elemental land spirit.
Oh.
It has always been there, always will be, but it is protecting the land. That's what we believe.
Whatever John Bell did to either desecrate the land, desecrate the natives that were there, whatever it was that he did, upset this elemental. And yes, that elemental may have presented itself as a witch or as Kate, as the folklore tells. If you read the books and listen to the folklore and some of the things that she's claimed to have done, points to elemental. The way that she describes herself as someone who's always been there and always going to be there, has been there long before us and will be long after we're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things that she's done, the shape shifting, the being able to present herself as a black wolf with red eyes, which is another one of those things that was kind of weird when we took over, because that's what our logo is a black wolf with red eyes. And
like
and she would also be at multiple locations at one time. She could be in many different places. She would also, I found this interesting reading the book. They said she would go to church and she would preach a sermon as well as the pastor.
And correct the pastor.
And correct them. She would know all the business of the local people. So if you were out drinking the night before, you went to church and, you know, she would tell. Yeah, she would tell all your business.
No.
I mean, so she was interesting, you know, as the folklore went. Now, you know, that being folklore, you know, so I don't stand on a lot of that, you know, because you don't know, because it is folklore.
But one of the things that has come out of all of that is Tennessee is the only state that has recognized a death due to the supernatural.
Mhm.
Wow.
And it was
That's
the
very
death
cool.
of the death of John Bell at the hands of the Bell Witch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
What
it's
happens
amazing.
to a soul that gets tortured like that?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
I mean, the things that happened to that family, you know, back in the 1800s
Mhm.
that lasted for 13 years,
Right?
or was it the 13 years? Nothing happened, and then all of a sudden there was all this stuff.
Yeah.
And John Bell and mainly Betsy Bell were the one. Betsy Bell was the one that took the brunt of it all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was the one that was smacked and dragged and hair pulled, and that most of the attention was towards. Of course, John Bell would become heel, but Lucy Bell, the Bell Witch, loved Lucy. Would protect Lucy. Would
Mhm.
help her with different things, and was very kind to Lucy.
Hmm.
But anything as far as John and Betsy is concerned, she was kind of down.
Yeah.
And the rest of the family had some sort of experience with it, whether it just being hearing the noises in the house or seeing what Betsy was put through. So
Sure.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
LeAnne, would you mind talking a little bit about your book?
Sure. My book, I've had so many experiences. I thought, you know what, I've got enough here that I need to write about this.
Right.
It was something I had been wanting to do. It starts out kind of, with my mom and her experiences. Then it walks through the different things that I experienced at Haunted South Pittsburgh, at Waverly Hills, and just kind of walks through everything and talks about, being a paranormal investigator and why we do what we do and what, really ethically what we should do as paranormal investigators,
Mhm.
and not, run to conclusions, try to discount the, what could be not paranormal, what is paranormal.
Right.
It talks about a whole lot of things I threw in there, just to have people think, about how they go about, I guess investigating and my experiences, and it's always nice to see when people read that and what they come away with.
Yeah.
It's on Barnes and Noble. You can get it there, or you can get it on Amazon. You can get it. I think that's it. Barnes and yeah, Target. Target has it too.
Sure.
Oh,
But it was something important for me to do because I felt like, I don't know, I had experienced so much, and it was almost like I just needed to get that on, on pages and write that out. And so I'm kind of proud of it because I wasn't sure if I really was going to do it or not. And but now that I did, I'm super excited that I did.
and I'm
Yeah.
proud of her for doing it, because it's something I couldn't do. English is hard for me, as you can tell, just the spoken language. So
Right.
so
Well,
I
we're
mean,
proud of you too, LeAnne. That's
we
awesome to be
we
able
Thank
to
are
write
proud
you.
of
a
you,
book
and
on your experiences and
Thank
put
you.
yourself out like that. I think that's amazing. I really do.
Thank you.
I was
Thank
I
you.
was going to say the same thing, but also pop in and you said something very interesting that I want to circle back to, which was you in your book you say as paranormal investigators why we do what we do, right? And I think that each one of us probably has a different reason, or
Right.
Mhm.
or we might have had a different reason why we started, but it all leads to the same reason,
Mm-hmm.
possibly. That being said, what is your reason, LeAnne, and what is your reason, Todd? I guess you could answer that together, but
Well, separately so
Mine,
we can understand, Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was trying to find answers because with my mom and her experiences, um, I I didn't understand it, and I knew there was more out there, and it was searching for answers to see what I thought it was. And I think that was my main reason, just searching for answers for myself. Yeah.
Right.
Answers, history,
Mm-hmm.
truths, that sort of thing. I'm an engineer by trade. So when I first got into this, I was probably 90% skeptic.
Sure.
Those numbers have, from the experience I had, those have flipped.
Mhm.
Not nearly 100%, but still that I'm more of a 90% on the believer side.
Well, it's good to be skeptical, though, because
And
we
You
should
have
have
to be.
that.
I think you have to be.
but
Mm-hmm.
we are still at the point where if something happens, we are not quick to judge as paranormal.
Mm-mm.
Right.
We will go through the whole scientific process to make sure that it is what it is, and not something else, or our minds playing tricks on us. Which a lot of people will look at the paranormal and think, well, no, that's just you're sitting in the dark and you're freaking yourself out, and it's your own mind's eye that's playing tricks on you.
Right.
Well, when my mind's eye matches up to her mind's eye and people's mind's eyes that we've never met before,
Mm-hmm.
that's something happening. So
Absolutely. So we will be seeing you guys at a Bigfoot festival. Are you guys believers in Bigfoot, and what other cryptozoology do you guys think that could actually exist?
We can both take this. We definitely believe in Bigfoot. I was I was kind of a whole lot skeptical, but I had an experience when I was younger. And it was very questionable what had happened around this home that I lived at. And it was very strange. And so I don't know, it just made me think, okay, that was really weird what happened. Later, we met a gentleman named Greg Yost, and he took us out where he had his first experience. And when he took us out, he, was telling us, what to look for. I end up going in this creek bed, and I find these footprints, and they're large. They've got, toes, everything. And I'm sitting there looking at this going, okay, this is wild. I'm actually seeing this. Well, he takes us out later that night to these tree structures. These tree structures, it was not normal. They were bent, and these were large trees and in a arc shape. But not just that, they were twisted in a manner that looked like they were braided together.
Oh, wow.
It was the most massive tree structure I had ever seen. So Greg had found that it was like 2 years before that, I believe. And he said, I've got to show you guys my favorite tree structure. And I'm thinking, sure, I'm open-minded. I'm going out there, and so my first reaction was, well, maybe not seeing it yet. I was thinking, okay, maybe this is wind and, snow and, stuff that bent the trees, before I actually seen it. So when I get to it, I mean, there's no way. There's no way under the world that that's what it was. Because you could see where it was twisted, and you could see that it was braided together. So I'm like, okay, this is blowing my mind. So Todd, being an engineer.
Yeah, I looked at the same tree structure and I thought, yeah, this really has got to be wind.
Right.
Yeah.
Directions, twining it together. Yeah.
When you get to looking at the terrain of the area, and there's no real anything else like that around.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the key things that we picked up on in this tree structure, with everything being bent like it was, one of the keys to the structure, like a keystone, there was a long, straight tree that was inserted into it with
Yeah.
a root ball up in the
Up in
air.
the air.
Wow.
Interesting.
So
Sounds actually very pretty. It really does.
it was,
Really was.
Right.
and you asked, do we believe? Yes, we do.
Mhm.
The cryptozoology stuff, if there are things out there in our oceans and in our forests and in our deserts that people haven't discovered yet, yeah, you're not going to convince me that the cryptozoology portion of it is not real either. I mean, it's there. People have seen it.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, some of it does sound very far-fetched. Some of the stories, we've been to Mothman.
Yeah.
We've been up in that area. We've seen stuff there. We've been all over Land Between the Lakes where Bigfoot and Dogman are known to coexist, and have some pretty interesting experiences there. Again, up there in Indiana with Greg Yost. Our first experience up there as a group, our team was sitting over on a picnic table watching Ernie and Greg out, kind of pointing things out, and I was sitting away from the group over at another table, just kind of relaxing, kind of
Right.
taking it easy. I was the chauffeur for the night, so I was sitting there, and Ernie tells everybody to be quiet, and you hear coming through the trees, you hear this coming through the trees,
Hmm.
and there's a cooler sitting right here, and whatever it was that was coming through the trees hit that cooler.
Wow.
It scared me a little.
Sure.
I come about 3 foot off the picnic table. I peed a little,
Okay.
and I have determined since that day that Sasquatch has a sense of humor,
Right.
because
Okay.
I have been out investigating Sasquatch in multiple locations, including that same location in Indiana. We've investigated Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee. There's one other. Illinois.
Illinois, yeah.
And in every location, and I believe that the whole interdimensional thing is real because it
Mhm.
could potentially be the same group of Sasquatch.
Sure.
I get something thrown at me
Hmm.
Every time.
to the point we do an investigation at a place called Fort Duffield in West Point, Kentucky. The name of that event is called Spirits, Squatches, and Stories Around the Campfire. We
Okay. Wow.
co-host with our best friends, Pac-Man Paranormal, Ernie and Denise. And when they introduced us to that location, we were out there just kind of scoping it out, feeling the energy, seeing what kind of activity we might get. I'm walking along and something gets thrown at me,
Hard.
and I accuse Ernie of throwing stuff at me, but Ernie is standing right next to me, and of course he looked at me and laughs. Oh, that'd be a neat trick. Haha. Well, it got to the point to where having enough stuff thrown at me. Our first event up there, I wore a tactical helmet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So your nice grounded energy pisses off Bigfoot. I love that, man. He just throws things
I
at you.
don't. I
I
haven't,
like
well,
it. I do.
they haven't hit me yet, so I haven't pissed them off too much. So that's why I
Because
think
it's
that they
feral
have a sense
throw.
of humor.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think they
You
have a
guys
sense
are
of humor
great.
and laugh. So
That
Well,
is
I thank you
fantastic.
guys for being on. There's not enough time in the day to get all the history and research you guys have done. So, as we close out, how do people find you guys?
You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I think that's it.
that's the Black Wolf Paranormal.
The
Yeah.
Black Wolf Paranormal. Raven, are we doing anything fun? I mean, not as fun as these guys have, but I mean, we have anything going on soon?
I mean, we do. We are actually headed to it is the let's see if I get it right. Red River Gorge Bigfoot Festival. Speaking
Yes.
of
You're
Bigfoot,
asking them. I love that. That's good.
I'm
They're like,
asking
yeah,
them. I was
we're
like,
good.
they know it. They know it. I'm trying to pull it out of my memory. We're doing that end of next month. So super excited. And we just found out you guys are going to be there, which
Yeah.
Yes.
makes us even more happy.
Yes.
We can talk all things Bigfoot there. We can really try to convince Gabriel, who's back on the fence, apparently,
Well,
allegedly.
I listen to you guys. Now I'm back on the other side of the fence of
There
believing.
you
So
go.
thanks. Yeah.
Can't
There
make
Very
you
up his
go.
confusing.
mind.
Thank you. You know?
Just remember,
Every other podcast.
if we get the opportunity to go squatching, just be mindful of
Don't
how close
stand
you
by
stand to
you
me.
because things get
Right.
thrown. Yeah. You guys
Put
have
your
been
helmet.
amazing. Thank you so much. What a
Thank
night, Raven.
you.
Thank
You
you.
know?
Yeah.
Well, we want to give our sincere thanks to Todd and LeAnne Escue from the Black Wolf Paranormal team for joining us and sharing their experiences, their knowledge, and their passion for uncovering the truth. Teams like theirs remind us that this field is strongest when it is guided by respect, patience, and honesty and groundedness.
Mm.
Everyone who joined us live tonight, thank you. To those who shared comments, questions, and theories, we appreciate you. To those listening later in the quiet hours of the night, thank you. Once again, tonight's program was presented by Unbox Media LLC and supported by friends at Shaker's Cigar Bar in Milwaukee. And of course, we've got to have you guys on again. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and thank you for joining us. Would you guys mind hanging on just a little bit more longer? Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.